Hello. Today I want to share with you guys a TickSpeed mod that I made. Now if you're involved in the technical Minecraft community, you've probably already seen Panda's video about his TickSpeed mod that he released. Of course, I got my inspiration for my mod from that mod, and I wasn't sure if I should share this, but there's a few things that are different, a few advantages my mod has over his, and I want to discuss them right now and share this mod with you guys. Hopefully somebody finds uses in it. I know I've already found use in it, and I know fellow SciCraft member Helvins has already found use in it. And I want to quickly explain some advantages and disadvantages of my mod compared to Panda's mod. So Panda's mod is much more in-depth than mine. It's much more complicated. It has server integration. I'm gonna just do some stuff in the background here as I talk. It has server integration, meaning that you can run this on a multiplayer server. Mine does not. It's only for single player, and it's a lot simpler. But the upside to that is, of course, that it's more compatible. I only change actually 2 classes in the game, and I could probably get away with only changing 1 instead of 2. I haven't done that yet because I didn't really see a need in it. One need, for example, would be to make this compatible with Optifine. Don't ask me why. For some reason, Optifine modifies the gamerules class. I have no idea why, but it does. And in order to make this compatible with Optifine, I could actually change that class for you. If you want me to do that, then just say so in the comments. It's probably pretty easy. I just haven't found a need for it yet because I don't really need Optifine in single player. It's mostly just when we do crazy things on SciCraft that I need Optifine for. Another thing Panda's mod is better than mine at is the graphics, the animations. He actually messes with your client with the animations, and that means that pistons extending and retracting at slower and higher tick speeds, mostly slower, will be a lot smoother. You'll actually see them animate properly and not improperly, as you'll see here if I set it to a lower tick speed, let's say 5 for example. Yeah, you see disappearances, you see these are actually, they seem like they're extending at normal speed, but it's actually just the animation and the sound, of course. But in reality, the piston isn't really in this block yet. Well, it's not exactly as it would appear, at least not for the server. It is for your client. That's why I'm moving up and down correctly with this. Anyway, graphics and the server integration are probably the main 2 things Panda's mod has better than mine. Otherwise, I think my mod has, it's very simple, but in its simplicity, it has several advantages over Panda's mod that I want to discuss. So first of all, in Panda's mod, if you set the tick speed to 0, it actually completely freezes your game. It basically it freezes your server and your client, and this is one main point going towards, well, 2 actually going towards my mod. In my mod, the client and server do not share the same tick speed. The client is always at normal speed, meaning you can move around, type commands in chat, and place blocks at normal speed. However, in Panda's mod, everything is slowed down, meaning typing commands in chat, placing blocks, and even just moving is much more annoying. The second point is the fact that I can, because of this desynchronization, I guess you could call it, my mod allows you to freeze your world and actually interact with it, actually test stuff and change stuff in real time without affecting anything. For example, if you're working on an iron farm, you can, if you see something's about to break and you catch it in time, you can set the tick speed to 0, freeze the world, go in, change whatever you want to change, go back out, and everything's going to be as it was. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. I know my mod is also compatible with the village marker mod. I think Panda's mod is also compatible with that one. I wouldn't, well, don't take my word on that because I haven't actually tested it. I don't see any reason for it not to be compatible. Like I've skimmed through the classes that he changed. But anyway, yeah, freezing is very nice. The compatibility is very nice. As I said, my mod is generally probably more compatible with mods because of the fact that it's smaller and only changes 2 classes in the game. And as I said, I can probably get away with only changing 1 of them, although I don't really see too many mods changing the game rules file unless I'm missing something important. Anyway, similarly to Panda's mod, my mod can accept fractional tick speeds, so floating point numbers basically. The reason this is I guess special is Panda does this thing for his own with his own command. I do it with the gamerule command, and gamerules don't actually by default have a floating point value. They can be an integer value, a boolean value, or a string value, and I just added a floating point value, and which the game does actually have infrastructure for, but doesn't use for some reason. It's kind of weird. Anyway, another thing I did was, of course, it's kind of necessary in a mod to make it idiot proof, so not make it too easy to crash your server with this. So if I go TickSpeed 10, for example, or something stupid like that, it's not going to do anything, and if I actually try to see what's stored in the TickSpeed gamerule, it's going to tell me that it failed to parse the float, and it won't actually change the tick speed at all. It'll stay at the same tick speed it was before. If I go back to normal speeds now, it'll parse the number correctly and everything will be fine. I also restricted my mod between 0 and 1000 TPS. Of course, there's no going backwards in time, so negative numbers aren't relevant. And going above 1000, well, even with the most beastly computer ever, okay, I say ever, even with a very beastly computer, you probably will never reach 1000 TPS. And yeah, and since thread.sleep function, which is what Minecraft uses to delay its functions, or to delay the tick speed, since that can only accept arguments in milliseconds, then, as far as I know anyway, then basically in order to make it work with smaller fractions than 1000 TPS, then you have to make some sort of other infrastructure that's probably not too difficult, but I just don't really want to mess with. And as I said, it's probably not that relevant because it's never going to happen. So if you type anything over 1000, let's say I type 2000, even 1000 exactly, it's going to store 1000 in the TickSpeed gamerule, but it's not actually going to change anything. If, however, I do 999.999999, it will actually speed up. Okay, I guess that was float inaccuracy, but if I do this, it will actually speed up, and you can see after a little while it's actually kind of having some trouble to keep up. If I go back to normal TPS. I also invested in my mod so that it doesn't... so normally the game, as you may know already, tries to keep up with the server. If the server sees that it's lagging behind the amount of time that it allocates to processing a tick, then it'll try to process a lot of ticks at once, and I basically prevent this if the tick speed is actually changed, and because otherwise it becomes really annoying. I found this out pretty soon on in testing. Another nice thing is, since this is a game rule, it actually is stored with the world save. So if let's say I put this to 200 TPS, I quit this world, go to another one, then, well, if I go to this one again, it'll stay, and, well, just believe me, if I go to another one, it's actually gonna have any number that's saved on there. So let's set this back to normal speed. Actually, I want to set this to back to freezing situation, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to go into game mode 3 and speed up and fly away, and if I actually fly away far enough, you'll notice chunk loading and unloading doesn't work because this server doesn't work. Yeah, when you freeze the server, it doesn't work. You can do some pretty interesting things with this in regards to finding chunk loading errors and that sort of stuff. The thing is, though, it doesn't necessarily show you which chunks are loaded, because sometimes your client will just dump render data. Like these chunks over here are actually loaded for the server, but my client doesn't recognize them because it dumped the data because I was too far away, and the server isn't active to send the packets back to my client again. So if I set this back to a normal tick speed, you'll see that it renders back in again and loads properly again. And I think that's all. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you want me to make it compatible with Optifine. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.